Monday, February 5th. Please join me for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Get right into it. Departmental reports.
I'll make a motion to approve departmental reports for the police from 122 to 129, council on aging from 15 to 126, fire from 121 to 129, and maintenance 127.
Have a second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Good. Approve and sign maintenance warrants.
I'll make a motion to approve a maintenance warrant number 45 dated 1/19/2024 in the amount of $168,450.23.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Make a motion to approve warrant number 47. This is a payroll warrant dated 2/2/24 in the amount of $446,962.02.
I have a second that.
Any further discussion?
I will abstain from the select board salaries and the teacher salaries.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Rick and I have voted out of necessity for the select board.
Thank you. Make a motion to approve warrant number 46. This is a bills payable warrant dated 1/26/2024 in the amount of $4,778,553.77.
I will second it.
Any further discussion?
I did have a question about the reevaluation, Chris. What was that for Bishop and Associates?
What they do is every year they have to go through and just update based upon market sales,
Update what exactly?
values of the houses,
Oh,
based
okay.
on market
So for the
sales.
assessor's office? And then the transfer to the general fund, was that for the accounts for the West Street building?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember the annual town meeting for 5/8/23, Emmy O'Brien and Sons, what that was for?
What we did, Emmy O'Brien, is we had to buy a piece for the play structure,
Okay.
and that is due frame repairs. I guess the little plastic bubble thing that you look out, I guess
Yeah.
that was cracked,
Okay.
so we had to get a new one.
And then do you have any update on the cable contract that Mr. August was negotiating for us?
Nope, not at this point.
Okay.
Actually, I gotta get in touch with him and go through it with him.
That was it.
Anything else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Make a motion to approve warrant number 46S for the school. This is also a bills payable warrant dated 1/26/2024 in the amount of $153,950.56.
I will second it.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Last one is a motion to approve warrant number 48 dated 2/2/24 in the amount of $206,329.89, and this is a maintenance warrant.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Thank you.
Minutes?
I did not get a chance to read over the minutes that were sent, so I was going to ask to table it till next meeting.
Okay. That we can do. Chris, you have anything for us? We're a little ahead of schedule here.
You got one more item there. The approve and sign
Oh,
the
yeah.
collective bargaining highway bids, or collective highway bids. Every year, what the board has to do is designate someone to sign on behalf of the town for all the bids issued through the Franklin Council of Governments. Granby usually participates in all those bids, that way we don't have to bid out ourselves. And in the past, you've usually made me the person to sign on behalf of the town.
Chris, was this last year the one that's for like road work and stuff like that?
It's for asphalt, it's for sand, gravel, excuse me, sand, gravel, winter salt, all that sort of stuff that we get better prices by purchasing collectively. I think if you look at one of the pages on there, Crystal, it gives the various contracts that they issue out that we participate.
I don't remember seeing this in And I know, Dave, if there's a company that doesn't do what the job that he likes, he can always go somewhere else, right? He doesn't have to stick with this, or does he?
They usually have two people who usually bid it, so you can go to the alternate, the second
Okay.
highest.
Because I know he was having a hard time with the painters the last time, the line painting.
But the problem with that is there's only two companies in the
In the
state
area.
that do it.
Make a motion to give Chris permission to sign on behalf of the Select Board the Franklin Regional Council of Governments Collective Purchasing Program fee schedule and permission authorization form.
Second. I will second it.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Nope.
Yes, I have checked the references for Mr. Muse. They all came back great.
Okay.
Glowing recommendations for him, so I will be contacting him to begin contract negotiations.
Excellent. Good, thank you.
It's good, moving forward on that piece.
And just so the board knows, I do have an application for the building commissioner position. Would the board like me to arrange an interview with the board and that individual for building commissioner for the town of Granby?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay.
Chris, I know right now we're going with an interim from Hadley. Is there any way that he can give us an update of how many houses he goes to and visits? Like, do you remember our last building commissioner used to give us a weekly report? Is there any way that he can just keep track of that for us? Like the
I don't
old-
see why you can't.
Yeah. It was just nice to see how many places they went and what they did each week. So
Right.
I just came across that when I was looking through my many binders over the year and a half, so thank you.
I would have to imagine he keeps track of all the permits and everything
And the
being
fees.
issued.
Well,
Yeah.
when he's billing me for inspections,
Right,
he gives the address that he goes to,
right,
so,
so I'm sure there's a log kept on those things.
yes.
Were you gonna have the building commissioner come in next Monday or the 2 Mondays from then?
We get 2
Is
Mondays.
that too early?
You're going on vacation or no?
It's probably
Yeah.
too early
Supposed to be right
for
now.
the upcoming Monday. We can try. I'm
Yeah.
not sure,
Okay.
but we'll see when he can make it.
Yeah, just see when he can make it, we can always schedule something around that too.
And that'll then take care of all our vacant positions at this point in time.
That's good. All right, well now it's 6:15. We have a public hearing scheduled for now. We have a public hearing held today, Monday, February 5th, 2024, at 10 West State Street, Granby, Mass, at 6:15 PM to consider gravel pit application by LJ Development LLC, applicant and owners James and Kathy A. Slate, ET 44 Mercier Drive, Belchertown, Mass, to remove earth materials from the property located on Tropic Avenue as per zoning bylaws, section 5, special use regulations and performance standards, 5.8, earth removal for the town of Granby. We have for LJ Development.
Don Frederick from Sherman Frederick Lands and
Okay.
Engineering. I'll be doing the presenting.
Okay,
I have Neil Jackson and Jason LaFleur from LJ Development and representing the owners, James Troutman.
okay.
Any best place to set up the board for the display so everybody can see?
Well, it's gonna be kind of difficult for everybody to see it, but I would say probably up here somewhere, so that the audience can see it. Maybe we can, I know the select board actually has copies up here.
How about to the right of the board? That way the camera can catch the...
That might be good, yeah, that might be working too, yeah. Maybe have the camera zoom in a little bit so we can pick up what you're talking about. I don't know if you have to stand by it there or not. If you do, then I'd probably take the microphone and bring it over there. One of these.
I can move mine.
We've got one there, so.
Okay.
We just bring it closer so it could just kind of pick up the,
Move the
you
mic
speaking.
closer.
Huh?
Move the mic
Bring the
closer.
mic closer, yeah.
Pick it up from the end.
Yeah, you probably, that's perfect.
So as I mentioned, I'm Don Frederick from Sherman and Frederick Land Surveying Engineering. I'm representing LJ Development for their special permit application for earth removal. The owners, again, was represented by Jim Kroenke. In the front here, there's a list of owners on the cover letter. There's several owners of it. The site is located at the westerly end of Kroenke Avenue. Again, we're looking for a special permit for earth removal. We have included a narrative in our application that outlines what we're trying to do. There's two areas. This is the existing condition plan, so Kroenke Avenue is up here. This is the land area that we'll be working in. There's two sections. I actually made one plan that showed both, just to make it easier to flip around many times. The Kroenke Avenue is here. The access would be into here. This is what we call Area 1. And then this area over here is Area 2. Area 1 has, we're proposing to remove 124,000 cubic yards of material during that Phase 1 and 168,000 cubic yards during Phase 2 at 40,000 cubic yards per year. Earth removal operations will be done by standard excavation methods, including loaders, excavators, bulldozers, and dump trucks. We proposed operational hours for truck for actual removal at the site from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. There was a typo in our narrative, if anybody caught it. We talked about meeting the Munson Highway Department standards. Obviously, that should have been a Granby Highway Department. That goes along with the trucks being on public roadways. Total area of earth removal operations is 5.8 acres in Area 1, 13.2 acres in Area 2. The maximum cut is 16 feet in this area here, which is the deepest in Area 1. We have done 4 monitoring wells through the site to make sure we have separation of groundwater. Based on the data testing, our elevational difference was from 12 feet down to 6 feet. Number 4, which is over here, was the closest one at the 6 feet. These were all 11 to 12 feet from the seasonal high groundwater of the data testing. Our maximum slopes will be 3 to 1. The lines are the proposed contours for the excavation. 25 feet minimum to lot lines. All drainage will be contained on site by excavating down into the site and maintaining it in the proposed excavation area. All unsuitable materials will be removed from the site. No stump burying at the site. Fencing for public safety. If the applicant wishes to propose a temporary construction fence along the existing tree line near Kroenke Avenue with no trespassing signs. All topsoil will be stripped and maintained on site till the closure of the project, so that we can get the 4 inches of topsoil spread on all the disturbed areas. And again, then Roman C upon final grading. The access road is proposed at the intersection of Kroenke Avenue, again down through here and down into the site as they excavate it out. And then inspection of the premises. Site will be open at any time for the board for representatives to conduct an inspection of the site. And that's all I have. If you have any questions.
So what is the access road? Is it coming off Bachelor down Kroenke?
Off the Bachelor onto Kroenke, that's correct. The majority of the hauling will be out Kroenke onto Bachelor, then onto the School Street, correct?
Is there any concerns with the bridge that's on Kroenke Ave?
We discussed that earlier. It was designed for H20 loading, which is enough for the trucks that we're proposing at the site.
Okay. Crystal, any questions?
I do actually. So you talked a lot about Area 1, Phase 1, and Phase 2. What's happening with Area 2?
Area 2 will be left as it is until they've
Okay.
done Area 1.
Okay.
Then, I don't think I mentioned it, but 3 years in Area 1.
Okay.
5 years in Area 2, that's averaging that 40,000 cubic yards of removal per year.
Where are you bringing it to?
Excuse me?
Where are you bringing it to? Where the truck's going to be traveling out of?
Jason. answer that one.
I'm Jason LaFleur.
Jason, just ask you to come up here just so,
Yeah.
thank you.
I'm Jason LaFleur. I live at 44 Mercier Drive in Belchertown. I own a small construction company, JL Construction. We do a lot of residential. I also own Complete Septic Service. So we mainly do septic work, and the sand is exactly what we need. I've been in business for 18 years now. We're a small company. Like I said, I got 2 employees. We're not big.
So we're going to your property over in Belchertown?
Yeah, or any of my projects
Customers.
that I have.
Okay.
Projects.
So I'm just figuring out the route when you leave.
Mhm.
You're going down to Bachelor Street,
Yeah, I
down to Belchertown, to take a left at the end?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be the easiest way. We mostly go down School Street. I do have projects in Granby where I might have the...
Yeah, the other way.
We'd mainly be going down School Street.
How many truckloads would come out a day, an average day?
An average would be about 9.
9?
We based that on the 40,000 over a year, 250 working days. It'd be about 9 to get the 40,000 out during a year,
Average.
Yeah.
average. Right?
That's what, like an 8-hour time frame?
Yeah.
So we had 8 to 5 for operating hours in our
Okay.
narrative. Jason asked at the meeting we had before this, that if they're allowed to work on site prior, as long as no trucks were leaving before 8 o'clock, just to get things ready. So we were going to ask if they can work on site at 7 without trucks leaving until 8 from the site. And again, it was 8 to 5 operating hours.
I think we'll may get some input from the neighbors, because I'm sure the...
Sure, I just wanted to throw it
Yeah,
out
so the
there.
machinery running early in the morning. Okay, we'll see. Anything else on the board? No. All right. Well, this time we're going to open it up to the public. If anybody has any questions, I would ask that we'll come around the microphone. You state your name, your address, and state your name and your address, please.
Yes, sorry. My name is James Bruffy. I reside at 310 Bachelor Street in Granby.
Yeah.
And, well, first off, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here in opposition, obviously, to this gravel pit. I do have some questions, though, from what they were just saying. If they're going to do 40,000 yards, that's not 9 truckloads a day. And I thought I saw in the application where they said there was going to be either 37 or 39 loads a day. Because that's one of our objections, is that you have a trip in, you have a trip out. That means on the average, we're going to have a dump truck going in front of our house every 7 minutes or 8 minutes. And I really object to that. But I do have a few notes. I'd like to give you a little background on this. I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but there was a special permit application approved by the Select Board on 10/27 of 2010. It had numerous conditions imposed. It required that Tromke Avenue be upgraded to subdivision standards before operations begin. And for that matter, the town had codified that earlier in 1988 and again in 1996, where they stated any further development of any kind will require upgrading Tromke Avenue to town standards. The issuance of the permit was appealed to the Housing Court of Western Mass. Judgment was entered in favor of the plaintiffs, reversing the decision of the Select Board and revoking the special permit at the time, the Tromkes and Stony Hill. This is the very same locust, and it's the very same development, and actually it's the very same people with the exception of the septic contractor. The approximately 18 acres to be excavated, again, is the same parcel. The judge, Dina E. Fine, First Justice, found that issuance of the permit was unreasonable and legally untenable. Some of the findings of fact were criteria under 6.7 of special permits are violated. Earth materials would have to be moved through the floodplain, which is prohibited by Section 4 of the bylaws. Bachelor Street provides the only access and egress to and from Tromke Avenue. Bachelor Street is a winding, hilly, ranging road in the vicinity of Tromke Avenue from just over 19 feet wide to just under 22 feet wide with no sidelines. There are multiple school bus stops along Bachelor Street. We're very concerned about that because it was also part of the judge's ruling that trucks cannot pass each other in each direction. And I can see that every day. We have many pedestrians, bicyclists, dog walkers, and of course, students waiting for school buses that would all be placed in danger. Some of our other concerns are in the production of the gravel. There will be bulldozers, excavators, and sifting equipment in constant use, all of which produce loud noise, dust, and vibration. And also, those vehicles and machinery cannot leave the area, so they have to have trucks come in to service them. Trucks carrying grease, oil, diesel fuel. If there's a spill, the wetlands will be endangered, and so will Bachelor Brook. One of the other of our concerns is we will lose our quiet enjoyment of our homes, and we're entitled to that. We live in this area because it's quiet, it's peaceful, and all of these trucks would change the face of our neighborhood, at least for the next 8 years. Also, there's really not much of any benefit to the town, but there's costs. I can tell you, I have experience driving Class A commercial vehicles. For that matter, I qualify as an expert because I have 13 years experience driving. And I can tell you that a 77,000 pound and actually 80,000 pound triaxle dump truck constantly running on Bachelor Street will make deep ruts in the road. It will actually cause the pavement to concave. Someone's going to have to pay for that, and namely, it's going to be the town. And we'll pay for it with our vehicles being damaged.
What is that based on?
What is what based on? My 13 years experience as a Class A truck driver. I have seen it multiple times. I'll give you a really good example. If you go over on the Mass Pike in Westfield
But my
at the
question
exit.
is- My question is as far as, I understand as you're talking about it as a truck driver, but how are you speaking towards the road and causing ruts and stuff like that on Bachelor Street? How do you know that? How can you say that?
How can I say that? Through experience. My experience actually qualified me as an expert in this business.
And I asked that because I live on Amber Street. And
Uh-huh.
I'd say there's dump trucks on an average between
Right.
at least 50 going every single day.
Well, I'm sure there
And
are.
there's no ruts and stuff in the road, so I'm trying to
Right.
think, what's the difference?
But the difference is probably the asphalt is thicker.
Well, I think there's a standard, that's how thick the asphalt is. I'm just questioning, because it sounds like that's, you're making a statement, and I want to make sure that we're
Okay.
understanding correctly, that's all that.
That's fine. I guess we would find out when it happens.
Well,
You know,
Okay.
I don't see any other benefits to the town. The other thing is it would cause our housing values to go down, and it would make it more difficult for us to sell our houses if we decided that we wanted to move. We object to the transfer of earth over the floodplain.
And I just want to, and I'm not, and I hope you don't take this as me being disrespectful in any manner.
Well, certainly not.
But I'm just questioning, because now you're saying your house values will go down. That's your opinion. There's no factual basis on that, correct?
Well, I can tell you that if I were looking for a nice, quiet neighborhood and all of a sudden there were dump trucks pounding up and down the road, I'd say I want to move on to the next location.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm just
It's
saying
my
as far as...
opinion, sir.
Okay, that's all I'm asking.
It absolutely is my opinion. And of course, the town pays the upkeep, so that's pretty much what I have to say in a, but I do have for you a couple of exhibits. My notes for one. I have the first complaint, the final judgment, the criteria notes, and at any rate, if I may.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Has the other side seen these?
What's that?
Has the other side seen these?
No, they have not.
Do I
So
take
do you
them in?
have an extra copy?
I can certainly get one to Kathy. I will send an extra copy.
We'll get one to you so ASAP.
For the record, it is located.
Or if you want to give them one of these, I'll get you more.
Thank you.
Okay.
There was, are you all set, sir?
I am all set. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
it. I'm just gonna work my way around the room, I know.
I'm Susan Brumley. I live at 310 Bachelor Street also. I just wanted to clarify something. When you talked about the rutting, during the first hearing for the gravel pit, Mr. Gagliarducci, who owns Stony Hill, did himself indicate that there would be rutting, especially at the base of the road where and anywhere that they're turning, because he offered to be able to do repairs on the road. So that was coming from Mr. Gagliarducci.
And again, I'm just stating these aren't something that was researched to say this is true, this could happen
Yeah.
or not happen. That's all I'm saying as far as speculation.
Right. It was just that this came from the applicant himself, that there would be.
Do you remember sir, do you remember the year that was in front of Judge Fine? What year that went in front of Judge Fine?
Yeah, 2012, January 31st, I think it was, of 2012. It's on the judgment there. It's the very last page.
That's just all I have here. A part of the packet, Paul and Joyce Beaupre, who live, they're the closest house directly across from Tromke Avenue. They're in Florida, they couldn't be here, but they did send a letter of concern, and it's in that package. And this is yet another one that came from Kimberly DeShays,
Okay.
and she lives on Bachelor Street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, we'll go with you, then we'll go to you, sir, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Is it on?
It's for the people at home,
Yeah.
so they can hear you, so it's not going to project here.
Nice to meet you. Hi, my name is Melissa Harder, and I live at 326 Bachelor Street. I am a brand spanking new resident of Granby, and I cannot tell you how excited I am to be here. We just moved here in October, and we're busy setting up our house on Bachelor Street, and it is a beautiful place to be. I took some notes, though, so that I wouldn't forget to share my thoughts with you. I am in opposition of this. We moved here to Granby. We found it by accident, but we came here because it's a beautiful area. It's tranquil and serene. We came here for a peaceful life. I don't want to move anymore. We're a military family, and I don't want to move ever again, actually. I want to stay here and make a life here. The neighbors are very kind. Everybody's been so kind to us here. It was something that sold us on this area. We really, really enjoy the wildlife. We come from a place that's arguably even wilder, but here you have bears that won't kill you and things like that. We came from Alaska, so the birds, the bunny, all the wildlife that's out in our backyard. It's a beautiful place. I'm very concerned that something like this would affect that. Lastly, one of the reasons why we chose Granby is because it's support of veterans. And my husband, having been deployed to several wars, was looking for a really nice, friendly place to be. Wasn't it so nice that that Veterans Memorial was opened up just after we came here? We went to the ceremony. It's really nice. I haven't seen another town with such a nice memorial. You guys did a great job with that. So I'm concerned that this gravel pit is going to destroy the community that I've chosen to live in, just having gotten here. Dust is going to be created. I happen to be a librarian. I did a lot of research on this, and I have to say that I do have articles stating that the property values do diminish by 30% within a mile of a gravel pit. I don't want to have purchased a home that's going to happen to. I don't think it's fair. You know, this is a residential area. This is a beautiful little town. It's not for this purpose. The traffic, I mean, I don't think there's any way to question that the traffic and safety would be affected. It's going to be very noisy. Apparently, they're going to be driving right by in front of my house. It'll affect the wildlife. I don't think there's any way to deny that. And that Bachelor Creek is just the most beautiful thing, and peaceful and serene. We've walked down that road before. We walk our dog down there. It's going to be destroyed. The view is going to be destroyed. The animals are going to be hurt. It's going to choke that waterway. Something's going to happen, like a spill, like my neighbor said. Something would happen. And the property value and one other resource that I found said that it could affect water sources for properties. So since we're well water, I'm concerned about that. So I just wanted to share those views. Okay. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Sir? Microphone. The microphone. Thank you.
I'm not used to one of these. My name is Greg Orland. I live at 212 Bachelor Street. And in addition to that, for nearly 40 years, I have operated the gravel pit that adjoins this property. And this might surprise some people, but I am here to support the project. People need to realize that Granby is nearly 100%, with very few exceptions, a town that has septic systems. And septic systems require, when they need to be either replaced or new ones built for new construction in town, septic systems require the material that's going to come out of this gravel pit. I've been operating in town for nearly 40 years, operating the gravel pit on the property that is next door to this. I'm 75 years old. One of these days I'm going to retire if I get smart. And people need to understand how much it's going to cost them. This is a necessary commodity in the town of Granby. There isn't any other places nearby. I'm not sure that there's anybody left operating in Belchertown. You have one other operation in Granby, which is Naraki, way over on, off of Chicopee Street. In most cases, when Jimmy Naraki gets a call for Title V material, he refers the people to me because it's difficult for him to make it and sell it. His material has large stone in it, which has to be screened to taken out to size that makes it suitable for septic systems. Where the material out of both my pit and what I'm sure is going to be the case out of the Tromke property won't require that. I'm nearly positive. And people just have to realize that in a town like Granby, this is a necessary commodity. If it was a septic system, if it was a sewer system town, things would be different. But if they have to start paying for this material to come from anywhere between here and Worcester, it's going to be crazy expensive. And in addition to that, the applicant, Jason LaFleur, has been a customer of mine for as long as he's been in business. And if I didn't think that he would be a good operator and a good person for the town of Granby to operate this necessary commodity, I wouldn't be here speaking in favor of it. But that's not the case.
Greg, where was your pit in relationship to this one?
My eyes aren't that good. But this is the Chartier property.
Okay.
My pit started with the Chartier property. They operated the Chartier property for probably 30 years.
Yeah.
And then maybe going back nearly 18 years ago, I bought the adjoining property from Francis DeWitt, who owned all this property on this side and actually goes behind this property. And when Chartier's property was exhausted, I was able to continue to operate the pit on the land I bought from Francis DeWitt. And there's still enough material on my property to operate for as long as I will be in business. And then my operation is going to go away. And all you people have septic systems that someday they're going to need repairing.
Hold the mic up, please.
All you people have septic systems that someday are going to need repairing.
I appreciate it, but just to the board now.
Okay.
How many trucks a day you take out of there?
Hang on, just the questions come to the select board.
So,
It's just not.
how do you access your property?
Through Chartier's property.
Okay.
I was fortunate, well, the pit began on Chartier's property. Then I bought the adjoining land, both on Bachelor Street, which provided 7 building lots for 7 homes.
Yeah.
There's still two possible building lots left. I built my own house there. And rather than, there was an old bridge that went on the property that I bought. But rather than upgrade that bridge and come through the houses that I built,
Yeah.
I was able to continue using the Chartier property, both to my benefit and really the benefits of the Chartiers.
Yeah.
I built a new bridge there, maybe, must be close to the new bridge is nearly 30 years old. Redecked it twice, once being about 3 years ago.
Now, would there be any access from your property to that proposed gravel pit?
No.
No, you can't get to it because,
Pardon?
how come?
It would be complicated because it wouldn't be just me that they would have to deal with. They'd have to be able to make a deal with the Chartier family. And I really have no idea how they would feel about that. and I don't think there's anybody here to speak for them. I'm happy to answer any other questions. Crystal?
How many trucks do you have come out of your gravel pit a day?
Years ago, there was quite a bit because I provided for many years all the screened sand for the asphalt plant, which is in Granby. I did that for over 20 years, and that could have been as many as 24 loads a day. That went away when Lanes got bought out a couple times. Now they're owned by a company in Europe somewhere, so that all went away. So now basically what I do is provide for septic systems in the town of Granby, and occasionally in Belchertown as well.
I got nothing more.
Anybody else have any questions?
I wanted to speak after.
Well, okay, are you all set?
I'm all set.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
why don't you come on up now?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
Well, he's not here to answer questions
I don't-
on behalf of anything.
I don't mind, but
I understand that piece, but he's not here to answer any questions.
Okay, I'll make a statement.
Okay.
I observed this.
Sir, I asked the woman to come up, I'll give you a chance to, okay?
Okay.
I just want to be fair to everybody, okay?
That's great. You can just leave the mic on the table.
Hi, my name is Susan Lambert. I'm at 308 Bachelor Street, corner of Tromke Ave and Bachelor. That right-of-way that is mentioned in one of the papers is, I own the land, the end of Tromke Ave, when it comes off into Bachelor Street. I own 3/4 of that road. So the right-of-way is on my property. It was done years ago by the farmer, 2 farmers before me. He was friends with Ernie's father, and they made the right-of-way. It's for houses, it's not for gravel trucks. And after this gravel pit what about Old Crank Road? Why can't they, it's not on any of the maps here, but why can't they go out that way onto 202, Old Crank Road? They own up to 202.
I don't know, that's a question we can ask, I don't know. I don't know what Old Crank Road is.
They're not going over a waterway, they're not going over the bridge, they're not going over, and when when Gagliarducci came in for this deal, in 2011 or 10, whenever they started, they put down all this used road, it wasn't even clean trap rock, it was old dirty roads that they had dug up from somewhere, there was oil on it, they did the whole road that way. Nobody asked my permission. I come home from work one day and there it was, this junk all over the road. And for years now, I've been breaking to trap this rock off of my lawn. I can't even mow on the side of the Tromke Ave because of the trap rock. It's so thick. I have goats. Every time trucks go speeding by, the goats get all running through the pasture, and it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's the right place to do this. And when this gravel pit, if it does go through, and is there houses going in there? Because they were told back before 2012 that putting in all these houses, you had to pave the road, Tromke Ave, you had to put in a sidewalk and lights, like they had to do in Deerbrook, Maximilian Edge, do the same thing. They were told, it's never been done. So is this final, is there going to be houses down there?
That's up to them what they decide to do with their property years to come. Right now, this is just about the gravel pit.
Okay, and they're saying 9 trucks a day, so that's 18 trucks, right? 9 coming in, 9 going out. That's 18 trucks.
Well, yeah.
Okay, and does anybody know where Old Crank Road comes out on 202?
I do not. No.
Let me know.
Lived here my whole life and I don't know where that is.
Okay, I think that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very much, appreciate it.
Somebody on want to?
Mr. Chair, Old Crank Road is on the assessor's maps, just so you know.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
It's identified on the assessor's maps.
But not on the ones we have here, right?
No.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, I'm Dane Gerstenfeld. I moved in with my wife, Melissa Harder, who you just heard.
Okay.
So we moved here from Alaska, Fairbanks, Alaska, and wanted to move to a quiet community. Well, not quieter, but pretty darn quiet there in Fairbanks. But in any case, it's very quiet where we live, and it's tranquil, and it's exactly what I wanted. You know, having been in 2 war zones, you know, and noise is bothersome, and that's one of the reasons why we moved out to where we were. And additionally, you know, there's some impact from the burn pits and things like that, so I wanted to get to an area that, you know, just didn't have, you know, well, very much, you know, particulate matter in the air. You know, which is, you know, one of the reasons why I lived where I did. And so I'm here to voice my opposition to the opening of the gravel pit less than a mile from my home at 326 Bachelor Street, Granby, Mass. The trucks will be going right in front of my home, and that's a very small road, and it's very narrow, and it has tremendous blind spots, both coming and going. And if there's any speed on those trucks, they're going to kill someone. And it's just not built for it. It's a bedroom community of Amherst and, what is it, the 5 universities here in town, which is, you know, the other reason why I moved here. And, you know, I'm in opposition to this. You know, and it's a business adventure for someone who lives in another community and outside of Granby. It's problematic from the standpoint of groundwater, noise, traffic, and property value. All of these things will be negatively impacted. Studies suggest the effects on property values are a 30% reduction in home values within 1 mile of a pit. Effects on rivers are also negatively impacted from the effects of, you know, you're moving ground and you're moving earth, and we've got a stream that's right nearby, and all of that has to go somewhere. So when it rains, you know, it's going to go into the water stream, and it's going to affect our fish and our wildlife, all the things that brought me to Granby. Again, it's a bedroom community. And then, of course, there's the effect of dust. The effect of traffic is also impacted. And the roads are narrow, and they have multiple blind spots. And it's an agricultural area. And so I don't know what the effects are going to be on our, you know, our cows or sheep and what have you. And I know there's a need for gravel, and, you know, I get that. But putting an industrial gravel pit in a residential community and using those streets is foolish, it's ill-conceived, it's dangerous, someone's going to get killed, it's going to negatively affect property values. And, you know, they've got new properties that are all out there on Tromke, and I'm not sure that they're going to be so happy about this, because I'm pretty saddened by this, and hopefully it won't transpire. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman there?
I would just like a little clarification.
Okay, just so you can hear with the microphone, so the people at home. Thank you.
I'd just like a little clarification. As LJ Construction is the company, and there's so many members to this LLC. I thought he stated that he owned a septic system company, and that he used 8 or 9 loads a day. But if we have 40,000 cubic yards, and we're going to do 700 per day, that's a whole lot more trucks. That's like 35 or 40 trucks. Are there other customers, such as, would the Gagliarducci's be a customer of the gravel site? Because they're making it sound like, oh, it's not very much, but I have the feeling that it's quite a lot more. And I'd just like some clarification on that.
Well, we can ask the gentleman to come back up, Jason. I mean, he said it would be 9 trucks. I mean, this is, at an average, I mean, that's, when we listen to that, that's what people are telling the board. I believe that's what the board is taking into consideration.
Would that be a stipulation in the permit, that it would be limited to 9 trucks per day, period?
That's something that...
And not 9 trucks making multiple loads, but 9 loads a day.
Well, that's, I mean, again, we're going to go based on the discussion that we're having now, so...
I can discuss the numbers if you'd like, as far as the...
Yeah, are you all set, sir?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Make reference to that?
Sure.
Thank you.
I don't have a calculator with me, so I'm just going to average this out a little bit. So there's 18 cubic yards per truck. I'm going to use 10 trucks a day because it's a lot easier to multiply by 10 than 9. So you get 180 cubic yards per day. If you do that for 5 days a week, that's 900 a week. 900 times 50 weeks is 45,000. So it's going to be 40,000 in that year. I'm just, again, averaging the numbers a little higher to make the math easier. Okay. That's how it works out.
Roughly, again, between 9 and 10 truckloads a day.
Yeah, if you do 9, I just couldn't do the math quick enough for you. But yeah, so I use 10. And then as far as customers go, Jason's using this for his own contracting business. He's not using a Gagliarducci, who's a commercial site contractor who's going to take out large amount of loads during a day. This is for his use on his jobs, so that's why it's limited, the average being 9 trucks a day.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then I'll get you next. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I live at 326 Bachelor Street. My name is Sarah Gerstenfield. We just moved here back in October. This place is just beautiful. And I do walk my dog up and down Bachelor and Tromke Avenue pretty regularly. And if there are trucks going up and down multiple times a day, that's incredibly dangerous for myself, for my dog, for the bikers that I watch go by, for the runners and the walkers and the children too. And it would really make me very sad to move all the way here and then have this happen. I think the cost is really high for the residents, and the only person benefiting from this is the company themselves. It's going to be noisy, it's going to be dusty. My dad, he was in the military, like he said, and he's had a tough time. He's 80% disabled. He can't really hear. He has effects from the burn pits. So it would just be really great if this didn't happen. The creek behind Bachelor Creek is really nice, and it would just be terrible if that got ruined by a leak or the dust or the dirt. And I don't know why they chose this area, because everybody lives here. I mean, it's a residential area. It's not a place for a gravel pit. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good catch.
Gentleman in the back, they had a...
How are we doing today?
Good, how are you?
Questions that are answered, not discussed. Gary told 31 Tromke, last house of this private way, that no one talks about maintaining that road, first of all. Bachelor's a narrow spot, obviously going right towards School Street, left is a little wider. Tromke's narrow. It's pretty beat up every year. The bridge is narrow, a lot of conservation problems there. Who's maintaining that road? Who's maintaining the front? Yeah. Well, I know, but you don't answer the question.
No, you have to direct your question
Oh,
to the board.
who's maintaining Trump? Yeah.
I would imagine it belongs to the people that live on Tropic Ave.
Correct, which is, so there's
The private way.
nine houses on Trump Ave, 3 that aren't associated with the land, which is okay. I'm for and against the property, number 1. Number 2, we were approached, if this was going to happen again, we applied for a permit for gravel pit, the 3 houses that aren't associated with the private way, which we own we own the private way, we live on the private way. So if you're using the private way to get to the gravel pit, which is not a public road, 3 houses that are included in this project, how does that work? If you say maintaining it, who maintains it? We maintain it. We're not gonna maintain it for the trucks, the tri-axles go over a bridge. There are tons of potholes already, and no one maintains. How's that gonna happen with 9 trucks? It would be a lot more than 9 trucks a day, or less, if you're going 5 days a week, 8 o'clock till 7 o'clock, you're telling me, not 8 to 4, or get there early at 7 and start banging in the backyard and breaking stuff down. That's too much noise. You start at 8, get done at 4, close the gates up for me, because I'm for and against it. But I don't agree with the time schedule. Number 1, there's a lot of questions. So you start opening up that first gravel pit there, the trucks, you're gonna start in the back, and you're starting at 25 feet from my lot, my parcel. That's pretty close. I'm not taking all the trees down. And then they said there's no stumps, they're taking the stumps off-site, I'm assuming, I don't know. There'll be no stumps there, so, again, there's a lot of questions that come up with later, in fact. You know, there's a lot going on. The private way is the most important, who's maintaining that road. We can't maintain it now, how are you maintaining these trucks going out? So, I don't know, the way.
I mean, I don't have an answer for you, so I don't know if you want me
The time restrictions should be applied heavier than what you have. Private way should be protected, number 1. Number 2, maintained. Number 3, 3 houses that aren't part of the project should be compensated. Now, I'm not saying why you want to compensate it somehow, because 1, our house is going to be vibrated every day, right? The first phase, definitely, right? So secondly, the dust, the silt dust in the air, it's going to choke your grass, choke the air conditioners, choke the pool filters. I'm just talking, like I said, I'm for it again. I just want to know who's maintaining my property. We're going to have issues later on. So.
Okay.
And also the houses that, you know, are part of the project. So, I get more questions later on. Should I sit in later on and make more questions, or?
I actually have a question for you. You keep saying 3 houses that are not part of the private way.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that?
Well, we're not family members. There's
Oh,
5
okay.
family members, 3 of us are not family members.
Okay.
Don't own any of the behind our houses.
Okay.
It's still Trompe's land, not Trompe's way.
So you own your
Trompe's-
parcel and, okay.
And Trompe's in, they go right behind my house, and my house will go back, going out. So we'd be seeing, hearing number 1 all day. 2, the first one in, you know, in and out, so you know, you're getting a break, noise on the other side of the property. If you're digging and, you know, banging, and, you know, it's gonna happen, I get that. And I'm with it, you tied up by the sand, like Greg said, I get that. I'm not saying don't do it, but we could at least get it out somewhere else, or restrict timing, or have some guarantees, at least on the way, or even Bachelor Street, same thing. That road, we're taking a right out of Bachelor, is really narrow, it's windy, it is dangerous, but it's also dangerous on our street too. It's, you know, our kids are grown, but there's little kids on the street, so, that's where we're at now, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you could give me some answers, that'd be great.
Thank you, Karen.
You can answer a couple of those questions.
If you want to come up, because, yeah, actually, I'm going to ask a couple questions. So,
Thank you.
one of the questions that keeps on coming up is the trucks going in and out. So I guess
8 to 5, not 8 to 7.
So, I guess my question is, we've been referencing 9 trucks a day. It's an 8-hour period.
Average, yeah.
So, well, average, I mean, I would say the only way that would go up is if, whatever, you're not working certain days, certain week, and you're trying to make up on that part. How many trucks do you have?
2.
2. So, how many trucks per an hour in an 8-hour period? If you're taking out 9 trucks per day, you're gonna be going up and down that road. I want to, because I really want to do it's understand the volume that's involved here. It's, you know, it's, I mean, if I do the math and it's 9 trucks a day and it's 8-hour period, I'm thinking, well, that's, you know, roughly an hour every truck.
Yeah, I average probably an hour round trip. I mean, some jobs are closer, some are farther, that could take 2 hours. That's why I was saying average of 9 trucks. Some days there'll probably be no trucks, but then there might be a day where I have both my trucks running every hour, but there'll be days where there are no trucks. I would maintain that road, because I understand, I'm going in there with trucks, so I would make sure that it's, you know, flat and not dusty.
So, I guess some of the concerns that was brought up too in regards to dust and things like that. What are some of the options for keeping down the dust if that became an issue?
Water truck, spraying on the roads, if it's an issue. I only had one more question, but I forgot which one it was. Oh, just the timing. Yeah, it wasn't 7 o'clock. We won't be running until 7.
Well, I think the question came in at 7 o'clock is when operations would start. I think that was
7 a.m.
7 a.m. was the time that they were looking to start. And how, what type and how many vehicles would you have on site as far as backhoes and things like that?
It'd either be an excavator or a loader. And when we're loading trucks, it'll probably just be a loader.
So you would have to have, there'd be a loader, an excavator on site?
It could be just a loader for...
Could just be a loader?
You know, I guess I'm thinking of just the beginning of, you know, there'd be an excavator when we're stumping and things like that.
I'm just trying to put in perspective what is actually on site.
We want to exclude a bulldozer on occasion because when they first start, they strip the site. When they close out, they would be leveling it with a bulldozer. So it's not an everyday operation with a bulldozer, but there would be likely a use for a bulldozer on site.
But a majority of the time, you're most likely looking at like a loader, which is going to be loading the sand into the trucks.
Right.
And one of the questions from the butters too was the heavy equipment that's going to be on there. His concern was that you wouldn't be able to take it out there to fix it, but you're not fixing anything on site, correct? So if something breaks down, are you going to be fixing, like if it's a minor repair?
Yeah, if I can't move it, I would have to move
Fix it there.
on site.
Okay, because I know that was one of their concerns, was if there was a leak or something on site, contamination of the groundwater and stuff.
Yeah, we would have like a spill kit and whatever we would need on site to take care of that.
But also, I'd say would just, like, whether it's this company or another company or any company, are doing things like that, anytime there's any type of spill, that there's EPA involved and things like that to make sure that it's being handled correctly.
When you say maintain the road there, what do you mean by maintaining the road?
Grading it so, you know, we're not making potholes.
Is it paved now or is it a dirt road?
It's dirt.
Else? Does anybody else have any questions, comments?
I just forgot to tell you 2 things.
That's okay.
If you would like me to share any of the resources that I uncovered during my research on this subject about health effects and things like that, I'd be happy to share, or the reduction in property value. I'd be happy to, however you need me to get them to you. And in reading the materials, it just struck me that I believe I'm right about this, not a single person on that application lives here. Every single person doing this lives either in Florida or anywhere else, so.
No, I think, on the back spoke to it that there's 4 or 5 homes in that they still own on that road.
But I think the addresses are in Florida for the Trumkies. Nope, they live here. I saw Florida on there. lot of flooring. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
One of the questions
So if you just have to come up, and again, just state your name too, so people know who you are, and your address, please.
My name is Daniel Gerstenfeld. I'm at 326 Bachelor Street, Granby. One of the questions is it's one of the few places in the area that you can get gravel, but looking at, just doing Google Maps, it looks like there's Troy Sand Gravel, Hinsdale Gravel, Marion Excavating, Stafford Son and Gravel, Toledo and Sons Crushed Stone, WJ Graves Construction.
Sir, I think it was just mentioned that it's the only one that has the right Title V that is needed for septic systems. That's what they were saying.
Right.
So those are all gravel pits, but we don't know that they have Title V.
Right, we don't know that they don't have it either.
Right.
Most of those people buy from me
Right.
because they don't have it.
More stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Is there any other questions or comments before we close the public part of it?
Hi, again, I'm Susan Bruffy at 310 Bachelor Street. So many questions just kind of keep coming up, and I know they will continue to come up. I would like to request that we continue this hearing at some point. I'd like to have a chance to be able to look at all the responses that you've requested from the Environmental Conservation, the Zoning Board, the Planning Board. I know that you've requested comments from all of them. This is just, I think, a huge issue. This has far-reaching consequences, not only for the neighborhood, but for the entire town, and I'd like it to be really carefully considered. You obviously know Granby has a rich history of mining gravel. At the turn of the 18th century, that's what Granby did, and it was put to a stop. And I can certainly get you all of the historical information around that, because the town was just, had turned into a dust bowl, and environmentally, with all of the gravel pits that you still see lining Bachelor Street, there were a lot of consequences, so that stopped. I have a real fear that if this were granted, since Granby is a town that has lots of sand, lots of gravel, that it would set a precedent, and that anyone who applied for a permit would be able to put some sort of a gravel pit in their backyard. So I know that not only myself, but I'm sure a lot of other people still have a lot of questions. Again, I'd love to look at all of the comments that are coming in from the other boards to be able to consider this. So I would like to request a continuation of the hearing.
Thank you.
This is where you want to stay.
No, I don't know where the stand one, oh, no, that one wasn't on the stand, right?
No, someone just gave it to her.
Susan Lambert, 308 Bachelor Street. I just wanted to say that.
Susan, if you could, just the microphone and so the camera can get you too. And I say that with all due respect, but we're the ones that get complaints when people watching the video and they don't get to see people hear them talking.
Susan Lambert, 308 Bachelor Street. I'm on the corner of Tromke and Bachelor. I just want to say with this Project 1 and Project 2, that goes into a, 7-8 year time span. Everybody's saying 9 trucks a day, well, it's really 18, because it's, and they're just as noisy coming in and out. And that's a long time. I'll be 80 by then. That's just all I have to say. It's just put it in perspective.
Thank you. Mr. Drapke?
Jim Tronke, I represent the ownership of the property. Just to clarify a few things, the gravel pit that's currently operating at its best years was doing about 15,000 yards annually. The permits that have been granted for on average with the gravel pits here in this town have been 40,000. Where that number came from, I don't know. But there's already one operating right here in town, adjacent to us, and evidently the folks that were up here speaking about how they just moved to town, they just bought their houses here on Bachelor Street, and wouldn't like a gravel pit there. They didn't even know there was one operating. Currently operating. No dust, no noise. They're down low. All the equipment's sitting low. The noise and the vibration does not vibrate through the neighborhoods. There's dust control used with the water trucks, as I mentioned. And basically, one gravel pit is phasing out, and the other this one here is going to take over. They supply sand, not just for septic systems, but they also supply it for our roads, for our asphalt. The town uses sand to sand our roads during the wintertime. There's more dust created with that happening than what you're going to see coming off of these trucks. They keep using the average number of 9 trucks a day. There's not going to be 9 trucks a day. That's how you equate to the 40,000 yards that the permit is issued for. That's how you get to those numbers. And the other point I want to make is that these permits are issued annually. So if the permit is issued, it has to be renewed next year. And if there's any issues or conditions that need to be applied differently, then that's the time to do it. We're talking about all these issues that haven't been happening over the last 40 years with this other pit that's adjacent ours. All these issues have not come up in 40 years. And the main person that's operating out of that, or is pulling material out of that, is the applicant before you, Jason. Mr. Orland mentioned that earlier. He spoke highly of him. I've done some research. They did a background check. My family still has to enter into a contract with him about how he's going to maintain the road for the residents, so on and so forth, on a more personal terms. So I understand everybody's concerns, but it hasn't happened in 40 years. I don't know why they anticipate it happening now. That's it. Thank you.
Can I actually address a couple comments that were made here? So there was a comment about working in a floodplain. There is a floodplain associated with Bachelor Brook, but we are not working in that floodplain. There was also a comment about the river. We are intending to stay outside the 200-foot rivers protection area from Bachelor Brook. We will have a filing with the Conservation Commission for confirmation of the line, and we're staying out not only the 200-foot rivers area, but also the buffer zone from the bordering vegetated wetlands that are in the area. There also was mention of groundwater contamination. We are maintaining above what's required for groundwater separations recommended for gravel removal operations. So all of those are meeting or above anything to do with wetland setbacks and or groundwater setbacks. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
Jim Bruffy, 310 Bachelor Street. Just a couple of quick things. Would they be willing to stipulate that there would be no more than 9 truckloads a day? And the hours of operation are until 7 o'clock in the evening. That's what they were saying earlier.
No, the 7 keeps coming up because it was 7 in the morning
7
that
in
they
the morning
wanted to
to 5
start.
o'clock.
7 in the morning to 5.
Originally, they were asking from 8 to 5, but they would like to have 7 to 5 with the machinery starting at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay, I can understand that, but would they be willing to stipulate and show evidence that it was never more than 9 loads in a given day? To put that into the application.
I mean, that's, I mean, I guess my concern with that is if they have, 4 or 5 days of rain.
Oh, yeah.
And then but just hear me out, and now they need to make up for that time. Now they're bringing 12, 15 loads of sand out to make up for that week that they didn't bring anything out.
Yeah, we're all reasonable people.
I hear you with that, but as soon as the board puts a stipulation to a permit that says 9, then it's 9. There's no more. So
Doesn't matter what the
Well,
weather
they could put language in about lost days of production, or 9 on an average through a week, or whatever.
But I think it's to Mr. Tropke spoke about, they look at the amount the permit's gonna allow for. But I didn't ask Jason if he thinks he's gonna get that much out of there in the first place. So that's the maximum amount that they can take out within a year. And it sounds like they may not even reach that amount either. So, but I think Jason would know more. I think Jason, if you want to come up and speak towards that, or to that, you know what you're gonna be taking out, which is
Yeah, I mean,
the
the
business.
40 is a max. I mean, it's going to be tough to get to that number. But like you said, if we're filling a job down the street, I can't just bring 9 there and wait and bring another 9 the next day. We said 9 as an average, meaning that would be 9 a day, every single day. So some days there's going to be 0, and some days there's going to be more than 9.
Jason, while you're there, I got another question for you. Have you gone through the Conservation Commission yet, or the Board of Health? Have you talked to them?
We have.
We have.
I got it. I just want to know.
So, we did file a request for determination with the Conservation Commission. I did speak to, I don't know if he's the chairman, William Shaheen, the other day, and because of timeframes for confirmation of the wetlands due to the weather, they didn't think they could get the review done in time, and apparently a request for determination cannot be continued. So we withdrew our application, and we're going to be submitting a different kind of application called the ANRAD, which is, to confirm the wetlands. But we basically will have to wait. They're going to hire a consultant to confirm the wetlands, but we do have to wait for all snow to get done and probably the frost gone so they can look at the soils. So we did it, we withdrew it, but we will be submitting again to them.
How about with the Board of Health? Did you meet with them?
We did not meet with the Board of Health.
And I know there's been some input from various different committees and boards in town, and also some feedback from the chief of police, our highway department, and the other departments in town that have made some suggestions. And I think, the chief of police had noted some like additional signage on Bachelor Street in regards to that too. I'm just trying to, I know someone had mentioned some of the information that's being brought up, and that's some of the information that was given to the board for us to look over as well. Some of the recommendations from some of the other town officials to their thoughts on the project. There are a couple of things that, and I'll open up to the rest of the board before, because I don't know, is the board interested in continuing this to another date?
I think there's a lot of information to go over and a lot of things that are going to come into play, so I think I need some time to read through, especially the packet that was just given to us as well. from 2010. Yeah.
Because I know I want to look into, I heard several times people make reference to home values dropping 30%, and there's been a gravel pit operating right around the corner, and I'd love to see those home values around there if they've dropped 30%. I don't think there's any home values in Granby that's actually dropped in the past, 5 to 6, 7 years. Home values continue to go up in Granby, which is good and bad. But I would like to, because just that number is thrown out there a lot as far as home values. So like I said, there's an actual gravel pit right around the corner that's been in Granby for over close to 40 years or so. So I'd like for us, for at least myself, to kind of do some checking on that to see if that's actually true or not. Some of the other things that came up was the noise. When I spoke to Jason, and Jason mentioned the amount of maybe 1 or 2 actual type of machinery on site that would be doing the work. I don't know how much noise that would give. I've been on building sites before. Backhoes don't make a lot of noise. I mean, they make noise, but it's not like they make tons of noise where you actually notice it. We're sites where the house can be built next to you, and yes, it's noisy, but it's not extremely noisy, and that's if you live right next to, the backhoe being operated. For times, I think this times is something that this board can look at in regards to what we feel is feasible for that. Another thing that came up was the vibration. I don't know how much vibration would come up from just moving dirt and stuff like that. Those are things that I want to look into so I understand better, but I can't, like I said, I've been on construction sites and the ground never vibrated when they're digging. So I'm not too sure how much would be involved there. And again, that's for myself to find out some of those things. I do want to take in consideration the information that the gentleman brought forward in the packet, and actually have our town council review it to see if there's anything of concern that this board should be concerned with in regards to that. But again, I look at, someone is asking for a permit, and as the gentleman, Mr. Troppi, did state, the permits are reviewed and issued every year. So, if someone is not being cautious, or things are not doing or operating properly, the town doesn't have to reissue a permit. It's not a one and done type of thing. It's where it's reviewed every year. The application comes up, it's reviewed by this board, and the board will decide whether or not they would issue it for another year. And I'm sure I'm speaking for the board, that the board has some concerns if it came in front of this board and there's a lot of issues with, issues going on with the gravel pit where things weren't being done correctly or properly, to review that. I know I've been on this board for 6 years. The gentleman that came up talked about this gravel pit. Every year that same gravel pit comes up. And I haven't heard anybody, not once, did someone come in and speak out against it in the 6 years that I've been here. So, but again, those are just some of the questions I have that I want to get answers to on my part. And I think someone spoke earlier too that that is a private way. So I don't know what, the vehicle's going over, except for the other people that had some concerns in regards to their homes on that property, how that's going to affect the road. I did hear Jason speak to that. That was something that he knows and would keep up the road, if I'm correct. And all I'm doing right now is just going over the notes that I wrote down to make sure that I'm not missing anything as far as what was said during this meeting. It's safe to everybody.
And I think Mr. Tromke also said that he was in the process of negotiating, maintaining that roadway as well, correct? So that's still
Well,
something that they're going to be working on as well.
I think that's the point where they enter a contract with them, but
Right.
I would think that each one of the members of the family that lives on Tropic Ave is going to be concerned with the road and how it's upkept too. I mean, they have to travel on it every day, just like the other people that live on the road as well. I know Owen brought up the beginning of Tropic Ave where it meets Bachelor Street. There's a right-of-way there as well.
I don't record the road.
So, you know, it's a right-of-way, so you're given permission for it to be used, so I don't...
Cars and farm vehicles will refer.
I'm not disputing that, I'm just saying that's something we gotta follow up on. It's not like if there were stipulations that were put into it when the right-of-way was given.
But can I say something about Charlie, that gravel pit?
Sure. In regards to whose gravel pit?
Charlie,
The one that's currently operating.
the one that nobody complained about?
Okay, I've lived in my house for 45 years. And when I bought my home, I knew there was a gravel pit. So there's really not much you could say about it. It was existing, it was there. But there's a lot of chatter in the neighborhood, and there always has been since I've been there. And a lot of people moved in there after me about these gravel trucks. They're loud, they drop dirt in the road. My house is almost in the road. I'm right close to the road. The smell of the diesel is horrible when they go, especially if they're going to come down Tromke, have to start up again and go around the corner and then start going up the hill. The diesel smell is awful. And, there's not much we could do about Charlie because I knew it was there when I moved there. And
Did you have the same issues that you're stating now with Chartier was going?
Well, the trucks smell. They smell. My house is close to the road. I brought 4 kids there, and it's just, they would all play in the back because they do smell. There's no doubt about it. And there's not much most of us could do about it because a lot of people moved in from around the time I did or after me, and we knew there was a gravel pit there. But, you tolerate it, but to add more trucks to the already existing noise and smell and vibration. And they do make the road, they do vibrate, the house. I mean, it's, they're pretty loud.
Well, when I was speaking towards the equipment, like the excavator and loader.
Oh, well, I'll probably hear that too. I mean, the people down there, I feel bad for them too. That's going to be really loud.
Again,
Digging dirt.
And I say this with all due respect, these are more people speculating whether they're facts or not, is to be seen or be heard. Again, I've been on construction sites and with a backhoe on the side digging, and you can hear it, but it's not like overwhelming hearing it. You know it's there.
But all day long? That's, it's a lot of noise all day long.
I'm saying to the fact as to at what point do you not really hear it anymore.
Yeah, and Jim, they don't live on Bachelor Street where they have to hear all these trucks going by all day long.
And my next question, and it's probably, I don't know if we get some figures on this for the board too, is actually how many trucks go up and down Bachelor Street right now? I gotta imagine there's some that...
Sometimes there's a lot, sometimes there's none. It just depends on the job. Sometimes they go by all day long. And Greg Orland knows that. They go by all day long. And
Well,
other days, there's none.
that's the point I'm making, is it's not, to me, when I'm listening to everybody talk, it's not like we're introducing a vehicle to Bachelor Street that's not already going up and down Bachelor Street. That be for me saying that I live on Amherst Street and I don't want any more dump trucks on Amherst Street, where for the past 20 years I know there's been dump trucks going back and forth.
Yeah.
If they're already on the street, then they're already on the street. And I understand when people are saying there's additional vehicles going up and down, but
I know when they did over Amherst Street, they pave it well. It's a thick asphalt. Bachelor Street, they throw down rocks and put oil over it. It's thin. It's not.
I have to imagine they pave all the streets the same way.
Oh, no, they don't. No, I beg to differ.
We'll talk to Dave. I don't know, I think there is a state requirement that require how much asphalt actually goes down. So, But that's something we could follow up on. But I know there are standards as far as how much asphalt goes down on a road.
You were saying that there was going to be there's another egress into and out of the other gravel pit that's already in existence. It's not down Baxter Street, am I correct?
I didn't say that, no.
No,
I think I heard some.
Yeah.
But this is a different, this is a different gravel pit, so I don't want to, I don't want to compare gravel pits. And in respect to that, and in respect to the people that are asking for the permit, is to stay on this particular gravel pit, so.
Sorry, there's really not a lot of truck traffic on Bachelor Street because it is weight restricted. There are occasional dump trucks and that go by, and nobody really says anything, but they are weight restricted. That's why it has to be a right turn out of Tronky Avenue, because there's a culvert right there that's weight restricted. Down the street, there's signs posting the weight restrictions. So you get school buses, and school buses are light. So, yeah, you'll see a delivery truck or whatever now and then. You see a big moving van now and then. But it's not a constant flow of traffic, and it's not a lot of dump trucks.
So that's another follow-up question we can ask for Dave Rose, our highway superintendent.
Don, can I ask you a follow-up for the Granby Conservation Commission? So you had said that you were in contact with them, but the application you had to withdraw because it was past the date, but you guys are going to file another application? Because they have 3 things listed here that the stormwater pollution prevention plan, and then the 100-foot bordering vegetated wetland buffer, the 200-foot riverfront area buffer zone, and then they also talked about the Wetland Protection Act application. So was it one of those that you guys had to table?
We filed a request for determination, which was essentially to confirm the wetland line and the high water mark. So once we had that confirmed, our intention was to stay outside those areas.
Okay.
So basically, it would not be within their jurisdiction because we are outside the 100-foot buffer and/or the 200-foot rivers area.
Okay.
Stormwater pollution prevention plan, that would have to be filed. It's an EPA. Stormwater pollution prevention plan is part of an EPA NOI filing. So anything that disturbs more than an acre has to do that. It's not a local permit. It's through the EPA. If we were inside those buffer zones or the rivers area, then we'd have to make a full notice of intent filing with the Conservation Commission. But we will be making, it's called an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for them to confirm the line, and then we move, if it does change, it's not going to change significantly, we would adjust the limit of work to stay outside of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that follow-up.
Does anybody have any other questions or comments at this time? Rick, so Crystal is in favor of continuing the public hearing on this piece.
Are you closing the public comment section of the hearing?
Well, I wasn't going, if we're going to continue it, I can't close it.
The public hearing, public comment section.
Yeah, not that yet, though.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm just asking if the board is willing to continue it before. If not, then I want to have some additional deliberation. So is the board in favor of continuing it?
Yeah, I would like to hear from the highway department.
And the planning board and the building commissioner, because we did not get any correspondence back from them.
But they were all notified of it, though, correct?
Correct, yes.
So, we can follow, I won't let that be our reason to continue it, and the reason I say that is because they had their opportunity to respond. I don't think it's fair to the applicant that we hold up something to that effect based on people have the opportunity to present comments in regards to committee
Right,
reports,
it's not
so.
solely on that, but we also have information that we want to collect on our own.
Right, that's exactly, that's the next point I was going to make, Crystal, is that there's some information that was brought forward that the board members would like to get additional information on, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So,
Do you need a motion?
no, if there's nothing else, so if the board is in favor of that, at this time, we'll close the public portion of the hearing because no one has any further comments or questions, if I'm correct, right?
Except for just today, until you review.
Yes. So, with that said, there'll be another public hearing scheduled. And I'm sure a lot of the answers, or a lot of the questions that the board members would have are going to be answered prior to that, so we can do it at that time. What is the time frame that the other board members think they need for this?
Do we have a certain amount of time, Chris, that we have to post it?
Well, if you're doing another hearing, it's a 10-day.
10, right. So,
period.
2 weeks.
Do you have to do another one, or couldn't you do a continuation of?
this is well, it is continued, because we have to continue, because if we close it, then we're done.
Okay.
So we're gonna
But you can continue to a date certain tonight.
Excuse me?
You can continue to a date
Well, that's
certain.
the point I'm making. We're not going to close, we're going to continue it. So is there a date that works for the other board members?
We'll be hearing next Monday, but if we have to wait the 10 days, then we would have to.
Not if you're going to advertise, if you're just continuing.
Right, we're just continuing.
You're saying you're going to continue it until February 12th at 6:15, 5:45.
What's
whichever way you
our
wanna do it.
schedule look like next Monday as it is? I know we have a budget meeting on Thursday this week.
Yeah. When's the poll hearing?
You have one at 5:31 and 5:40.
You have two poll hearings, right at the very beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
So you could probably do it for maybe 6 o'clock. That way you can get your other business out of the way too.
So is a week long enough for people to get?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
You
And
have a
that way it
question?
doesn't hold up the...
Copy?
Yeah, just to make sure my people can be here at that time as well.
Yep.
I know I have conflicts for next Monday.
Okay.
And since I started this, I would like to continue on with it.
No, that's fair. How about, what if we did the 19th?
That's a holiday, right?
No,
It's
you
President's
can't.
Day.
That's,
And I'm away.
Your next board meeting was going to be the week after the 19th, the
26th.
26th.
That's right, the holiday week. The 25th?
26th.
26th, want to do it Tuesday?
Perfect.
So we can continue the 26th at 6 o'clock? Does that work for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should be done the other stuff.
We're here at 5:30, so...
No, it's a Tuesday.
No,
No,
the 26th is the Monday.
you were thinking the 19th, which is
Oh,
President's Day.
I'm sorry, I'm in March, my apologies. All right. So the 26th at 6 PM. We'll continue it to that day. So February 26th at 6 PM, we'll continue the public hearing. And that works for you?
Yes, thank you.
And Jason, I know you might want to be part of that too. All right. That's continued. Thank you, everybody. Motion to adjourn, we have nothing else on the agenda.
I actually just wanted to ask you a question, because this was in there, and we had mentioned, right,
could find out what it is.
Because it says it's Exhibit A, so
Yeah.
wouldn't that be on here?
I think I want to say, oh, we do anything else? Good.
No.
Motion to adjourn.
We get
I will make a motion to adjourn
there a
the
second?
select board meeting.
I second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.